Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, June 14, 2023. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says steps will be taken to review and strengthen safety and security procedures at public schools. The initial step will be in relation to entry, exit, and pickup of children. The Prime Minister was among the collective voices of parliamentarians on Tuesday, decrying the brutal killing of 8-year-old Daniel Rowe.
I've asked the Minister of Education to immediately direct that the school safety and security policy be reviewed, particularly as it relates to the release of children at the closure of school, or if someone is coming to retrieve the child before school is out. That policy needs to be standardized, and where it may require the implementation of measures which would see cameras being installed or electronic gates or security guards, the ministry must put in place the resources to ensure that these measures can be implemented.
The Prime Minister says the society must not allow crimes like this to become the norm. He insists that pressure from the public can bring a resolution to the case and pleads for persons with information to come forth. Mr. Holness says measures will also be put in place to make it a requirement for public entities, including schools, to have CCTV cameras installed at the entrance and exit of their facilities.
It may also be the case, Madam Speaker, that some other entities that are private entities, that we may have to make a requirement of them, particularly if they have an area where they serve a large number of the public.
In the meantime, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says the government is pursuing stiffer penalties for heinous crimes. He says this is being reviewed by a joint select committee of Parliament under the Offences Against the Person Act. Minister Chuck says the committee is facilitating presentation from the public as well as from the police and the Director of Public Prosecutions.
When we look at these bills, we need to carve out a special provision where children have been brutalized and murdered by anyone. And that, Madam Speaker, is something that, as Chairman of the Joint Select Committee, we hope to do so in quick order, hopefully before Parliament goes into recess this summer.
Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang, says continued investments are being made to attract new recruits to the police force and making it an employer of choice. Dr. Chang was delivering the keynote address at a recent passing out parade for 276 new constables at the National Police College of Jamaica. The minister says the force is attracting some of the best and brightest minds, as was demonstrated at the JCF's recent Transformations Expo. He adds that specialized training programs have been expanded to ensure that there is an adequate number of sub-officers to supervise new recruits.
We have implemented significant changes to ensure that you, graduates, are equipped as modern police officers. These include training and sensitization on gender-based violence, customer service, emotional intelligence, rights-based approaches to policing with the operational skills to effectively combat violence producers and criminals who are heavily armed and brutal.
Work will commence this year on the installation of a new water transmission main from Ferry to Rock Pond in Red Hills. This investment of $1.7 billion will improve service delivery to the area by the National Water Commission, NWC. It is part of the agency's Kingston Metropolitan Area Transmission Mains Replacement and Upgrading Program. Minister with responsibility for water, Senator Matthew Semuda, made the disclosure at last week's commissioning of the Sterling Castle Heights and Padmore pipeline replacement projects. He said the ferry to Rock Pond main would be the primary feeder line for Red Hills and surrounding communities and would improve water supply to the St. Andrew West rural area.
It will have a water main that runs from the ferry pipeline to the Rock Pond reservoir. It will interconnect to the ferry pipeline. It will design and upgrade the raw water pipeline from Head Pond down to Greenhouse Chamber Inlet that supplies the Constant Spring Water Treatment Plant. It will design a 500 millimeter diameter portable water main along the North Coastal Highway from the vicinity of Grand Bahia Principe.
And finally, the Ministry of Sport is now moving to acquire architectural designs for the redevelopment of the National Stadium, marking a significant step in the project. Portfolio Minister Olivia Grange made the announcement during her contribution to the sectoral debate in Parliament yesterday. She says the Ministry of Finance and the Public Investment Management Committee have now approved her ministry's submission for the project and given instructions for detailed designs to be done for the proposed works. The Sport Ministry has also been directed to coordinate the planning of the National Stadium development with the activities of the National Water Commission and the National Works Agency. The project will also include the establishment of the National Sports Museum adjacent to the Bob Marley statue. The ministry has set a timeline of 12 months to report back to the Public Investment Management Committee and the Minister of Finance with all that is required to take the project to the next stage of approval. Minister Grange says much preparatory work still needs to be done and there is an estimated period of 36 months for the completion of the construction.
We will, Madam Speaker, realize our ambition of a modern, state-of-the-art national stadium and sports museum and velodrome.
And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.